Friends, welcome back to our worship series that we have called Follow Me. As we began 2021, we've been looking at the basics of what it means to be a follower of Jesus Christ. And we've been talking a lot about the verbs, especially early on in our Gospels, that Jesus gives us, come and see. And we see the disciples responding in different ways to be followers. They drop their nets. They change how they do things. They change their lives in essence. And then today's text, one of the pillars, it's a simple, basic message for you. And it's to serve others. In the text that you just heard read to us, it says they leave the synagogue, they entered the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John, and then Simon's mother-in-law is sick and she's in bed with a fever, and they took Jesus to see her. And the beautiful thing about this text is that it says Jesus lifted her up from the place that she was in sickness to a place of wholeness, not just a place of healing in her physical body, but a place of hearth and in home, as we say here at Crossroads UMC, to a place of healthy homes and holy hearts, of being reestablished back in her community. And her response to Jesus lifting her up was simple. It was service. That in response to what Jesus did for her, she then orients her life on somebody else. So I'm giving my sermon today from the window that, pre-COVID, we hand our oatmeal breakfasts out of. And friends, this is not a message that I want to give today to urge you to do more. I do enough of that. This is just a message to say, thank you for all that you've done and all that you're doing. When I think about where I'm standing right now, and I think about the tens of thousands of people that have been served with hot meals from this window, praise God. When I think about the tens of thousands of people who received groceries and fresh food in our neighborhood last year, and the people that in spite of a pandemic came and socially distanced and helped us deliver food and just said yes to helping us meet people in hard times, I think, praise God. I think of the woman who you just heard read the text this morning, one of our Free Store volunteers, and we were doing a devotion just yesterday in the Free Store, and she saw me have my notes for worship, and I said, you wouldn't happen to want to read our scripture? She said, of course, I was just baptized in my church, I'd love to. It's a message about that kind of response. That in the response to Jesus' call to come and see, to come and follow Him, the response is to orient our lives on everybody else. Now it can be hard. I know that in the days that we have with COVID and everything in the world makes us want to orient our lives on ourselves, the gospel and the Christian witness to follow and to orient our lives on others is countercultural. And serving others is more than just a nice thing. It's more than just, it can't be a thing that you come and do to make yourself feel good. As John Wesley would say, to act in solidarity or to come and do your work of mercy with the poor and the sick and the dying and not take their causes upon your shoulders when you leave would be to do them a disservice. That is to say, John Wesley would say that when we come and serve and we truly come to be in relationships of mutuality with the people that we're serving, we don't leave those relationships and those places the same as when we came in. And I would think that when Jesus Christ came into your life, or when you made the decision to drop your nets and follow Jesus, chances are you didn't look the same way as you did before Jesus came into your life. So we see this call in our gospel reading today that she served. And what a wonderful thing. Where would we be? Where would you be in your life without somebody who oriented their life to you? Who put aside their own personal trappings, their own belongings, their own interests, their own pride, their own assets, their own sleep. That's what's on my mind right now with a newborn baby in the house. But who was it in your life that served you and changed you as a result of what they invested in you? Jesus invests her life into Simon's mother-in-law, who we later know as Peter. We don't see her in the gospel at any other time after this, but I bet that she didn't stop serving after these verses were over. that as a result of what Jesus did and the journey He's going to take her son-in-law on, she wasn't going to stop. And so I close with being here in this window to say thanks. Thanks to those folks who continue to show up and say yes and serve breakfasts for how many years now? Probably over 30 years of serving hot meals out of here. People who show up day after day in the free store to give people a dignified place to come and just get some clean clothes and some fresh food. People in our communities who continue to serve the sick and the dying as death numbers and this death toll continues to go up. People who are serving. Praise God for people who orient your life on others. So the call is simple. As we head into a time of communion this morning, think about those that have given to you, who have done some nevertheless service in their life, that as a result of being lifted up by either others or the one and only Jesus Christ Himself have poured into you, loving you, caring for you. And think of the one who went to the cross for you to give you the cup and give you the bread, so that we in turn can be a blessing for others. So as you go into this communion time, I ask you to go ahead and get your elements ready, and we're going to go into a time of confession to pray for those times where we fall short in that service and we fall short in our love for God and our love for others. But then enter into that place of grace and forgiveness, and let the broken body and blood of Christ enter your life in such a way that you come out on the other side healthier in heart and home, and ready to serve and be a blessing to others.